Inside today's video, we're going to talk about what to expect the first time that you go into a courthouse. Now, we're not going to talk about specifics, the things that happen in the courtroom. Rather, we're going to talk about just the basics of getting to the courthouse. Oftentimes, you're so nervous when it's your first time at a courthouse, and I want to give you a little bit of information about what to expect just getting through the front door. Hi, my name is Peter Lamont. I am the host of Understanding the Law Radio. You can find us at utlradio.com. And today we're going to be taking a look at what to expect when you're going to court for your first time, whether you're representing yourself pro se or whether you're being represented by an attorney. Chances are you're going to be nervous. And in subsequent videos, we're going to talk about what you should wear and how you should talk to the judge and what the judge might ask you. But let's do the basics first. Let's figure out what happens when you open up that courtroom or courthouse door. What are you going to expect? So first off, when you get in the front door, the first thing you're going to see is a metal detector. Depending upon the size of your courthouse, you could have one, you could have three. It really depends on the size of the courthouse. And you're also going to see a conveyor belt similar to what you see in an airport, where the court officer or the police or whoever it is that mans that station is going to be scanning your belongings. The other thing that you're going to see is generally a little basket where you can put your keys and any loose change that you might have in your pocket, your cell phone, anything that you're carrying with you in your pocket, you can deposit in a little basket, put the little basket on the conveyor belt, along with whatever you are carrying. Umbrella, briefcase, file, folder. You just lay it on the conveyor belt and that'll slide through, and a court officer or a police officer, whoever is there, will scan that. Now you have to walk through the metal detector. And a word of advice for those of you who might have maybe an artificial part. I happen to have an artificial hip. And so when I walk through the metal detector, depending upon the strength of that metal detector, some courthouses nothing happens, others I set off the alarms. And so what I do is I always have my artificial hip identification card handy. And that way, if I walk through the detector and it goes off, I can just give the court officer or the police officer the card and say, listen, I have an artificial hip and I'm good to go. If you don't have your card with you, you'll oftentimes have to step back out, go back in, step back out, go back in. Then they'll either use the wand or they'll frisk you to make sure that you're not carrying anything. And unfortunately, they generally don't take your word for it when you say, I have an artificial hip. They would prefer that you show them the card. Another word of warning for those of you who might have pacemakers. Obviously, those of you who do, you're familiar with limitations and what things can affect the signal of the pacemaker. Just be careful going through the metal detector, because if you set off the detector, the guards can be very quick to wand you. And sometimes so quick that you don't have an opportunity to say, oh wait, you can't wand me because it'll interfere with my pacemaker. So again, if you have a pacemaker, make sure you have your pacemaker identification card handy too. That way, if you do set off the alarm, you can just hand the card to the person with the wand and say, listen, you can't wand me, I have a pacemaker. And obviously they'll generally either let you go or they'll frisk you. Okay, now you've made it past the entryway. You're past the metal detector, you're past the security guards, and now you need to get to where you're supposed to be going. So, you should know where you're going. What judge are you going to see? What courtroom are you going to? Are you going to an arbitration room? Where is that? What floor is it on? These are things that you should really know before you come to court. Because here's why. All right, they generally will have an information desk in most courtrooms, most courthouses, where you can go up and ask. But I would say, in my experience, maybe 50% of the time somebody is actually at that desk. Other times it's just a desk that says information. And so I've seen people go in there and be really confused and not know where to go. Nobody's at the information desk. And so they do the next best thing, and they go ask one of those court officers who are processing people as they come through the metal detector. And if you are lucky, maybe the court officer will be semi-friendly and point you in the right direction. But I've seen police officers and court officers who are doing the metal detecting screenings be very, very nasty and short with people, because they're doing their job and they're trying to focus on making sure that nobody's bringing in anything to the courthouse that they shouldn't be. And here you are coming over to interrupt them. They can be very short with you and either not give you the answer. Oftentimes they don't even know the answer to the question. But I have seen people representing themselves go into the courthouse and say, "I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm here for a motion on my case, Smith versus Jones. Do you know where I should go?" They have no idea. They don't know where you're supposed to be. They don't know the judge. They don't know the floor. They don't know anything. So you really need to come prepared, knowing where you're going. Okay, it's going to save you a lot of time and a lot of aggravation. Again, especially if you're nervous. First time in a courthouse, you're going to be nervous. So instead of making it worse on yourself, know what's the name of the judge, where are the judge's chambers, or where is the judge's courtroom, or if I'm going there for something else, an arbitration, a mediation, what floor am I supposed to be on? Sometimes they'll have an elevator directory outside the elevator bank, and if you're lucky, it's accurate. But I have seen outdated directories in front of these elevators, so you go to the 4th floor and that judge is no longer there. So what you should do before you get to the courthouse that day is really check out the website, look at the court website, and if you can't get the information there, give them a call. Just call up and tell them, "Listen, I'm going to be attending a hearing or a motion or a mediation, and it's in front of Judge Smith. Can you tell me where his or her courtroom is located?" And generally speaking, the courtroom and the chambers is like the judge's office. The chambers and the courtroom are oftentimes connected. However, I have seen instances where, because of the setup of the courthouse, the judge's chambers might be on the 2nd floor and the courtroom might be on the 3rd floor. So you have to be aware of that as well. Chambers is like their office. Courtroom is just that, the courtroom. So let's assume now that you've made it through the metal detectors, you know where you're going, and you have to go to Judge Smith on floor number 2. What happens next? Well, you walk over to the courtroom, and you have to let the person who is in the courtroom, because the judge generally is not going to be there unless you're late. Don't be late. It's going to be a secretary, court officer, or a law clerk. You have to let them know that you're here. You have to check in. You can do that in one of a few ways, again, depending upon the setup of your courthouse. Sometimes they're going to post a schedule on the door, and you have to look for your case and sign in. Sometimes they're going to leave a sign-in sheet up at the front, not on the door. Again, you look for your case name, so that's why it's, again, important to know the name of your case, and you sign in. Other times, there might be somebody sitting alongside the judge's bench, a secretary or a law clerk, who might have the calendar in front of them, and you have to go up to them and you have to check in. And if you're going to go check in face-to-face with somebody, what you should say is, "Hi, I'm Sally Smith. I'm here on the Smith versus Jones matter, and I wanted to let you know I'm here." They'll say, "Thank you. Please sit down and your case will be called." That gets you into the courtroom, ready to go for whatever it is you're there for, a hearing or a motion. And that's going to do it for today's video. I wanted to keep this simple and just get you comfortable with what's going to happen getting into the courtroom. And so to summarize, we know you have a metal detector. You have to know where you're going, because sometimes there's not people there to help you. So know the judge's name and the courtroom or the chambers or the meeting room or wherever it is you're supposed to be, know by calling and asking in advance. And then once you get to where you're going, check in. If it's an arbitration, check in. If it's a mediation, check in. Or if it's a courtroom where you're going for a hearing, check in. Now, we're going to have other videos coming out in the next few days. We're going to be talking about what to wear to court, how to talk to a judge, when to stand up, when to sit down, all of the things that you're going to want to know about being in court for your first time. But again, we're going to keep this one short and simple and just get you into the courtroom. Now, if you have questions about this or you want some more information, you can give me a call at 973-949-3770, or you can email me at plamont@utlradio.com. You can also find more information about this program or our other programs that we have by going to the website. It's utlradio.com, and there's a whole host of pages and information, links to prior videos, and you can just check it out right from there. Links to our YouTube page, Twitter, Facebook. If you get a chance, I'd really appreciate it if you would leave me a comment or give me a thumbs up. Just let me know that you enjoyed the content today, that you got something out of it, that it was helpful. And if you happen to have a particular topic that you would like me to address in a video, go ahead and leave that in the comments too, and I'll be happy to put that video together answering your question. I want to thank you all for joining me today. Thank you all who have subscribed on our YouTube page and are notified every time that new videos come out. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. That's going to do it. Check new content in the next couple of days, and we're going to continue on with this series about what to expect when you're going to court for the first time. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.